Week 1 of the CFL has already been loaded with drama. There's no reason to believe that the third game of the season will be any different as the Tiger Cats and the Renegades get together tonight. The winner this evening gets a share of first place. The loser settles for second spot in the CFL East.
Well, let's see. Last night it went down to the last second. First game overtime. Hey, they tied tonight. Just means more football. Nothing wrong with that.
It's a perfect evening. Temperature 19, the wind southwest at 11K. And check out the Tiger Cats' new turf. There will be a few softer landings at Ivor Wynne Stadium from here on in.
Joe Paopao in his second year as the head coach of the Ottawa Renegades. His football career in the CFL started 26 years ago. He actually played for the Ottawa Rough Riders and started coaching in 1991. Would love to improve on that 4-14 record and really should.
Ron Lancaster's Ticats weren't around for the playoffs either last year. It's already been a tough year in Hamilton. The Cats are off to a shaky start in 2003. Lancaster will have to manage without his quarterback, Danny McManus, for this one tonight and maybe a couple more after this. Underway at Ivor Wynne. Larry Davis bobbled it momentarily. He's up and down at about the 25. Tacklers led by Darren Joseph, and the return 15 yards. With Danny McManus missing, Pete Gonzalez gets his first start since his university days. Tyree Davis will be a favored target along with Archie Emerson. Troy Davis will work alongside a rookie in the backfield, and up front, Dave Hack is a perennial all-star for the Tiger Cats. First and 10, Hamilton beginning at the 30. Davis is wrapped up. The plan is to keep this offense a little bit simple tonight for a rookie quarterback.
Well, Kelly Wilshire just made a big tackle to start the game for the Ottawa defense in the front seven. They'll look to Wilshire to be the leader with John Grace, the middle linebacker, out. Gerald Vaughn moves up to linebacker from the halfback spot where he played a year ago. Veteran secondary on the right. Rookie secondary on the left. The big hitter, Donovan Carter's in the middle.
The starting lineup's brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. Second down, a little extra yardage necessary for the Tiger Cats as Davis lost a couple on his first carry. Gonzalez from the shotgun has a target, and his first completion out across the 35.
Julian Radlin, the fullback, is one of the guys that was a real nice surprise for Ron Lancaster in training camp. He came in and Lancaster basically said to the three fullbacks that were in camp, he said simply, guys, I'm going to keep either one fullback, two, or none. It's up to you to prove that you belong to be on this roster, because they'll go without a fullback if they have to. And Julian Radlin talked him into it and showed him through preseason that he deserves to be here.
He was a Tiger Cats first-round draft pick out of UBC and has really impressed everyone. Ball off Spaldiston. A one-hopper. Bendros has it. He was surrounded in a hurry. No flags are down, and that's where the Renegades will begin near the 50-yard line after a 2-yard return. Dan Crowley had a good start in his first season with the Ottawa Renegades and ran out of gas about partway through. Features Bendros, a key receiver to the success of this team this year. And Darren Davis is back to run the ball up front. Seth Dittman is the key along that veteran offensive line. Renegades out across the 50 at the 51 to begin this drive. Oh, what a way to start for Darren Davis.
Two brothers facing off, Darren and Troy Davis. Troy for Hamilton was stuffed on his first carry. Darren Davis breaks for a first down. Nice run to get started for the Ottawa Renegades, who would love to establish the run early. You see the two pulling offensive linemen get out front. One was Val St. Germain, got a nice block at the point of attack.
Darren Davis picks up 14 yards, and that has the Renegades set up at the Ticat 45. Crowley complete near side.
Well, when you talk about the Ticats defensively, You don't have to go any further in the front seven than the big guy. Joe Mumford is back where he belongs in a Cat jersey. Experiment in Toronto didn't go so well for Mumford last year. He's back. And in the secondary, the big change, Kyle Walters is the starting safety for Rob Hitchcock, who led the CFL in interceptions a year ago. Hitchcock broke his arm in game 2 of the preseason.
Bendraz picked up 3 yards in the previous play. 2nd and 7. Crowley to his right. Ran out of room over there and fired behind the intended target. Denny Montana.
Mistake made down the field by the receivers there. Really not Dan Crowley's fault. Denny Montana and Sharon Gideon were both in the same area. They were both about 3 yards apart. Normally when receivers, and you can see them discussing it on the sideline right now, Denny Montana and Gideon right there making sure they get that straight, because when Crowley rolled out, he saw 2 guys, 1 defender covering both of them, and ran out of receivers.
Lawrence Tynes in to try a field goal. Good on 16 of 20 last year, 80%. Needs a big kick. Oh, that one off the posts.
Oh, boy.
One time off the uprights. Takes a little skill to do that if you're trying to. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. And on the Cat sideline, Claude Fag.
Well, Wellesley, you know, now in his 8th season, slotback Archie Amerson looks to be the primary receiver for the Ticats this season, of course, with the CFL leading receiver Darren Flutie and Andrew Gregg both retired and Tony Miles traded to Toronto. Amerson should see plenty of balls thrown at him this season, but as he told me before the game, hey, he's just going to try to get open and hope he catches a few, guys.
Well, here's the Tiger Cats' first down, and it was bobbled on the exchange from center between Calder and the quarterback.
It's an interesting point, though, on Archie Amerson, and I know he will approach it with that humble attitude that he just wants to try and get open and help his quarterback. Archie Amerson emerged through training camp, according to Ron Lancaster, as one of the leaders, and they were searching for a leader with Darren Flutie, especially in that receiving corps, retired.
He had a great camp. He is the deep threat, and he is also a run threat for the Tiger Cats. 2nd and 8. Catch is made, but there was nowhere to go after that.
2 big tackles already in this game for Kelly Wiltshire, and Kelly Wiltshire didn't play a lot in the preseason. The only reason for that was Joe Paopao wanted to rest him up, make sure he was completely healthy for the year. He is their leader. In the preseason, he played about 2 quarters, and in those 2 quarters, Kelly Wiltshire made 9 tackles.
Bendraz deep for the Renegades. Osbaldiston just got it away. It's a low kick. Bendraz takes it after a couple of hops. Out near midfield at about the 53 and stopped there by Sandy Beveridge on special teams. 3 on the return, 33 on the punt. 0 still on the scoreboard. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Hamilton, and patrolling the Ottawa sidelines, Lisa Hillary.
Well, thanks very much, Wellesley. Look for Coach Paopao to let quarterback Dan Crowley work out his game. Remember last year he was in and out of the lineup. He lost his starting job twice. So look for him to exercise patience with Crowley. 2 unproven quarterbacks, Kerry Joseph, backups, and Romero Miller on this team. Now, the offseason big acquisition. Ken Austin was hired as a quarterback coach. He's a guy who has built a reputation on being a student of the game. Remember, he won 2 Grey Cups, so look to him to be a huge help with the backup quarterbacks. Guys, back to you.
All right, first sack of the game, and here's Joe Montford's first sack as a Hamilton Tiger Cat, round 2.
Well, Lisa talking about Dan Crowley, and Crowley's going to need more help than that. And what you're going to have to do if you're Ottawa is really load up on Joe Montford, because he's back. He's back with the Ticats, and he's back free on the edge to make his pass rush move.
2nd and a bunch. Crowley to his right. Airs it out. Jump ball. Not this time. Montana was the target. Brandon Hamilton was covering.
Hamilton just hung in there. A veteran corner, Brandon Hamilton. He's been around the league long enough to know that the play is never over. He just never gave up on it. And Dan Crowley threw that ball about 65 yards. Hamilton right on the spot.
The ageless one is in. Glenn Harper averaged 40.7 yards per punt last season for the Renegades after coming out of a long retirement, and he's back for year 2. Larry Davis stopped in his tracks. Donnie Ruiz was there to limit the return to 2 yards.
Dan Crowley will be better for the Ottawa Renegades this year, and a couple of reasons for that is, one, he knows the system, and two, he's going to have a great tutor now. Ken Austin and I were teammates in 1989. I truly believe at that time, the year we won the Grey Cup, that Austin was our offensive coordinator, cerebral quarterback when he played, and a guy that became a student of the game early in his career, and guarantee you will help these young quarterbacks, including Dan, who he's probably going to talk to on the phone like that every play.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, that he helped you win that Grey Cup in '89.
Well,
didn't he,
probably
Ken?
won it for us.
Here's Gonzalez.
Oh!
He can't get it away. Hard charge that time from Fred Perry.
Fred Perry getting in on the action, but a good decision by Pete Gonzalez. Tell you why, to hang on to that ball. There was coverage down the field, and Gonzalez, a young quarterback without very much playing time, you see Perry just jump over that block from the fullback. There he is right at the bottom of your screen. Watch him come off the edge. But I love the decision by Gonzalez. There's the little move inside. Don't throw it away. Cause a turnover down there. You can always punt the ball.
2nd and 19. Options are limited here. A streaker down the sidelines almost made contact on the far side with Tyree Davis.
Byron Capers ripped it right out of there. That's pretty good coverage. We've seen it on both sides. Now Brandon Hamilton, the veteran for the Ticats, with a nice knockdown in the last series. And now Ottawa defensive secondary getting involved with Byron Capers, 6-year CFL veteran, with a nice knockdown there. Did not have an interception last year, but he's one of those cover type. Put him in man-to-man, Byron Capers be all right.
Played 3 games for the Renegades last year. Osbaldiston chased back to about his 2-yard line. He's not sure if he likes this new turf in Hamilton yet. I talked to Ozzie before the game. Suggested the real players really like it. Kickers will take a little longer to get used to it. Trayvon Waller in on the tackle there. Still the zeros on the scoreboard. It's Wendy's Friday night from Hamilton. One of our views at the press box window here at Iberwin Stadium in Hamilton. Wendy's Friday Night Football, a doubleheader to kick off a brand new year. We'll watch the Blue Bombers and the Lions later tonight. 10:30 Eastern time, the kickoff at BC Place.
Chance for the country to take a look at Dave Dickinson and a Lions uniform, and it's the retro uniforms they're using.
Celebrating 50 years of BC Lion football. Montana to the near side on first down, Renegades. Davis had one block and couldn't get away, or one tackle I should say. Ran into a blocker, and finally Lamont Bryant made the stop.
Darren Davis got a chance to play 4 games for the Renegades last year, had about 250 yards, and really they were 4 games. The Renegades won 1 of them. They knocked off the powerful Winnipeg Blue Bombers during the time. In the first game of the season, they lost in overtime in a heartbreaker to the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And in game 2, there was a huge lead on the Eskimos that they couldn't hold on to. Crowley near side, had Ben Ross open and missed the target.
You know, and then, so then he got hurt in week 5 against, ironically, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Darren Davis. And when you think about what they did to come out of the gate as their first ever Ottawa Renegade football team, their inaugural season, they come out of there playing that competitive right out of the gate, and there was high expectations, and a lot of it was because of the play of Darren Davis, and then they lost him.
2 wins in the first 5 games, the victory over the Bombers, then the one over the Tiger Cats. Joe Pauw looked at the play of Dan Crowley last year and really was extremely pleased with what he accomplished during the first 5 weeks. They all ran out of gas in Ottawa after that. This one trickles into the end zone. Ticats would be wise to surrender the points. A 50-yard single. First points on the board, surrendered by Larry Davis right there. Two teams feeling each other out the first 6 possessions tonight. First downs have been hard to come by. Only 1 in total. And it'll be long yardage necessary for a first down there, too. Pete Gonzalez making his first start since 1997 when he was in university at Pittsburgh. His thoughts.
I think I'm getting more butterflies doing all these interviews than I am playing the game. I think the game takes care of itself. You know, I think we've all played long enough to understand that if you're not nervous when you start the game, then retire, don't play anymore. But it's more of an anxious feeling and excitement to go in and play the game and have fun and execute the system and do what we're coached to do.
The quarterback didn't get any help from the receiver there. Amerson couldn't hang on. Gonzalez was a backup in the National Football League with the Steelers and the Bills.
Danny McManus 2 or 3 weeks away. They're going to be very cautious with that knee. And he will help out Pete Gonzalez on the headset, talking to Ron Lancaster Jr. up in the box. And every time Pete Gonzalez comes to the sideline, Danny McManus will be there to help him along. 8 straight years over 4,000 yards for Danny McManus.
Renegades are getting close to Osbaldiston, but he gets another one away, and here's Bendros. Turn. Huge hit there. As Bendros turned the corner and ran into Sean Woodson. An 8-yard gain on the run back.
Woodson brought the lumber.
He did do that.
Starting linebacker playing on the special teams, and you have to do that because of limited rosters, and that's a pretty nice hit right in the hole. Sean Woodson throwing the lumber around.
Now he'll line up in the linebacking core with Scott Coe in the middle and Chris Schelling on the other side. Good fake by Dan Crowley, and he'll get a first down out of it. Chris Schelling was over to make the tackle there.
Well, you know, John, plays like this for the Ottawa Renegades could have some success early simply because Dan Crowley can take advantage of an inexperienced middle linebacker, a linebacker that's going to be very excited to try and make some tackles in the hole. That time Crowley used play action to Darren Davis to try and draw Scott Coe into the middle, which is exactly what he did, and that gave him the outside and a free running lane.
First down, Renegades. Just outside the Tiger Cat 50. A couple. Lamont Bryant picking it up there. Darren Davis stops.
You talk about Scott Coe in his second year with the Ticats. Last year he was named the special teams captain because he established himself early as a rookie as a great special teams player, and that's usually how you get that starting job. You have to start on the team, show you can play there, and then move in. Now Ron Lancaster says he's not a Kelvin Tiggle. He's not a guy that's going to blow you up in the hole, but he has good movement laterally and can run down running backs. That's what they're looking for.
A little speed, a little mobility, and he gets the job. A little high, and it's picked off far side by Brandon Hamilton. He's gone. Hamilton. Only one man can catch him. It's the quarterback, and he's not going to get there.
If a quarterback overthrows a receiver, bad things happen for the quarterback.
The quarterback had one last shot at the interceptor, but no chance of getting there. A 68-yard touchdown for Brandon Hamilton. Yards later, Brandon Hamilton is in the end zone taking a bow.
Crowley wants to use a quick game and get it out here in a hurry, and the ball is just going to sail on him. It gets up and over the hands of the lineman. You see it goes over the intended target, and Hamilton waiting on the outside in the flat, just sitting in his own defense. Takes it all the way back. The veteran with a couple of big plays early in this game. Remember, he had a knockdown on a deep ball earlier. Now comes over the big interception.
Safety Kyle Walters providing the escort to the end zone.
You see Lamont Bryant getting his hands up in the defensive line, caused Crowley to try and throw it up over his arm and over his head. And when he did, the ball just sailed on him.
First touchdown on the new turf at Ivor Wynn. And a game for real goes to the defense. Brandon Hamilton, 68 yards on the interception return.
Demetrius Bendros was the intended receiver. Not really his fault. He was in the right spot, and it looked like Crowley had to throw it over Lamont Bryant. And you play zone defense. That's a lot of times for a defensive back. When you're playing zone, you get a lot of your interceptions. Man, it's tough to get an interception man-to-man because you are so fixated on your man, making sure wherever he goes, you follow him. Oftentimes, you don't see the ball coming. But when you can sit back in that zone, wait for the quarterback and read his eyes, any little mistake like that from the quarterback, it's going the other way.
Dan Crowley threw for 16 touchdowns last season and 19 interceptions. We talked about it earlier in the day, the number of receivers, though, that he had to work with last year.
Well, here.
And there was a revolving door there.
Well, here, let me give you some names. And I'll just give you last names. We don't need it. Brown, Johnson, Alexander, Hodge, Turner, Flick. I mean,
Flick stayed. Flick's back.
Flick is a backup.
Okay, so Flick makes it.
But I'll tell you something. He had 20 different receivers come through camp last year. Really never had a consistent receiving core one game to the next, and which is a big reason why Ottawa struggled offensively at times. And he'll bounce back from that interception.
Ticats are still without a first down, but they do have the lead. Demetrius Bendros with Jets taken out to the 45, and a solid hit by Larry Davis down there, a 25-yard return.
That's the second time Bendros on the return is feeling a little bit of plastic coming from the Ticats.
And when you can hear it up here, you know it's going to hurt down there.
Well, it may just be game one, but everyone's important when it's football. You only have 18 of them. You get yourself in a good position. Not 160, not 85, 18.
Well, and you look at the situation for these two teams in the schedule ahead. This is a rather critical way to open. Far side, the completion to Aubrey Cummings, and Hamilton was over to make the tackle there.
You know, this is a team we talked about last year, how they struggled offensively. One of the reasons, I believe, and the Renegades won't use this as an excuse, and the quarterbacks or Joe Paopao haven't, but one of the reasons they were 8th in average yards, last in rushing yards, 8th in first downs, was because of the inconsistency in the lineup. And when you're a team in your inaugural season, that's going to happen. You're trying to find some talent. You're trying to put people in different places and figure out who can play and who can't.
They're averaging 288.1 yards a game, and that was 8th in the league last year. That doesn't get you much, but this will. Davis out of the backfield, and that'll be a first down for the Renegades. John Woodson over to make the tackle. Nice little play.
I'll tell you what I love about the last two calls by Joe Paopao and Dan Crowley. And these are two safe, high percentage throws for Crowley to get back into a flow. He throws an interception for a touchdown, so he comes out and on first down hits Aubrey Cummings on the outside with a hit screen. Next one, little dump pass to Darren Davis. Get comfortable, get some confidence back, and a couple of first downs.
And some field position here for the Renegades. Crowley now stands in, looks deep, has a man, and can't get it to him. Bendros was the target, and Crowley overthrew him.
Well, you know, though, Bendros on the pattern looked like he was reading one thing and Crowley was reading another. It looked like Bendros sort of slowed down and tried to gear down in the hole.
I thought he'd broken free there for a second, but they didn't connect, obviously.
Crowley felt that he was just going to keep on going full speed down the sideline. Brandon Hamilton was in good position once again. And Crowley may have to go and try and pick on the left side of that secondary and see if we can have some success over there, because Brandon Hamlin's playing pretty well right now.
2nd and 10. Renegades at the Ticat 37. Quick release. Bendros makes the catch, and he's stopped immediately. Wrapped up by Dedrick Mathis.
Well, the timing was just off on this play a little bit. And, you know, Bendros on the outside hitch green. When he goes down the field and comes back, he needs to see that football immediately, because Bendros, he's just going to take a quick step. Watch Bendros, bam, and then he comes back the other way. Right there on your screen now. If he takes another 3 steps, see how long he waited for the football to arrive? He waited about 2 seconds too long.
Dedrick Mathis was right there waiting. So the Renegades will try another field goal. This from 49 as Lawrence Tynes lines it up. And this time he's on the money. Lawrence Tynes' longest was 50 last year. That's one from 49 this year. Iverwin Stadium, Hamilton. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football. Game 1 of our doubleheader to kick off a new season. Ticats on top, 7-4. Reggie Slack arriving from Toronto last week.
Yeah, he's that insurance policy for Ron Lancaster, and starting Pete Gonzalez in his first start in the Canadian Football League. And he knows one thing from Reggie Slack. He knows how to win. He's had success in the CFL. And he said when he walked into the meeting room, everybody recognizes Reggie Slack's face. They feel comfortable. They know, and they may go to him tonight.
Well, he lives in the neighborhood. He was taking classes not far from Iverwin over at McMaster University all winter long. So that's where he's residing. Stephen Fisher to the 30.
In the first couple of series, the Hamilton Tiger Cats offensively have not been able to establish the running game with Troy Davis, and they may have to look to alter their game plan a little bit, in that they maybe throw the ball on first down a little bit more to provide some balance. Troy Davis has been stuffed a couple of times on first down. No question they'd like to establish the run. That Ottawa defensive front seven is doing their job right now.
Andrew English flanks to the near side. Gonzalez looks out of the cover.
Hey, don't let it throw on first down.
Troy Davis or Julian Ridlin.
Well, you know, when you look at this Hamilton Ticat team, a couple of key additions. We talked about Reggie Slack. Carl Coulter back over from Ottawa. Signed this year with the Ticats, back at home again. Tyree Davis, of course, Mr. Mumford. I call him Mr. Mumford.
And that's smart. Halfway to a first down. Amerson was the target, and the coverage extremely tight by Byron Capers.
Well, you see Byron Capers, what he did there, and as a former defensive back, when you play against a quarterback that has not seen much game action or is in his first start, you jump throws like that. You're not as scared of a double move or a double fake. Byron Capers knows one thing, that all Pete Gonzalez wants to do is get the ball out of his hands and try and throw it right on time to Amerson. You're going to see the Ottawa secondary take some chances, especially the veterans.
Osbaldiston has been rushed a couple of times. Sails this one down to the 35. DJ Flick returning for the Renegades here. Broke one tackle, and a flag is dropped near the 50. Sandy Beveridge leading the tacklers in the gain. For Fleck, was 13 yards on the return.
Holding Ottawa, number 21 on the run back, first down.
Byron Capers gets called on the holding after almost the interception defensively, and that'll push the Ottawa Renegades back, starting their own 35.
Ticats have not moved the ball very effectively so far tonight, but they have the lead on a 68-yard return for a touchdown. Zeros on the clock. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Davis bounced right into the arms of another Ticat defender. There's Scott Coe. So it's the Ticats on top after the opening quarter at Ivor Wynne.
Yes, John, up by 3, 7-4 is the score. And when your starting quarterback is making his first CFL start, Ron Lancaster knows he's got to get at least one touchdown from his defense, and he's already got it.
And he got it, and I think that was huge because it came in the first quarter, and what a momentum shift for the Hamilton Ticats. We discussed in the pregame show, if this Ticat team is going to win this football game, they got to win the battle of 3. Number 1 is defense, number 2 is special teams, and then their offense will come together. Look at Brendan Hamilton with a nice little escort there with Woodson and Walters. Hey, give Crowley credit. He pursued on that ball, but watch this. Look at the body language between Joe Pow and Crowley. Ooh, that's ugly right there, Jock. That's cold.
It is cold. And I was hoping that Dan Crowley had actually settled himself down just before throwing that interception. He got a nice little run by using play action. He does a nice job here, and we're going to see him. His job here is to read the end. Here's Lamont Bryant. Dan Crowley has got his eyes fixed on him. If he goes down the line, he keeps, and he does keep, and he gets the first down. I was really hoping this was going to be the spark that Dan Crowley needed. Now, after throwing that interception, he goes out there and throws a couple strikes. I think he's settled down. I think he's going to be all right.
I wish I had more time to break that down interception because that offensive line was pushed right in his lap on a quick little hitch there. And, you know, a lot of things got to go right for this offense to click. And the thing that's got to go right off the get-go is Darren Davis has got to touch the football and touch it often, because when that happens, you're able to see what Jock broke down. Dan Crowley feed off of that, because this guy's got great vision and he can exploit a defense in a hurry. He made a great linebacker, and Darren Woodson missed right there. And I'm telling you, this guy needs to touch the rock, Dave, as many times as possible in order to get Dan Crowley on his game, because right now he's got wide open receivers and he's not hitting his mark.
And it's very, very early, and we're not going to suggest for a second that they should pull Dan Crowley already. However, the game plan is they would like to see their backup, Kerry Joseph, sooner than later. Don't be surprised if you even see him tonight. We're not going to say pull Crowley now, but watch for Joseph getting into this game, at least this week or maybe next week. Let's send you back to Ivor Wynne. Here's John and Glenn.
68-yard interception return for a touchdown stands as the margin of the advantage for the Tiger Cats right now. Hamilton really hasn't moved the ball offensively, but one big play and they have the lead.
Pete Gonzalez hasn't had a whole lot of success, and they tried to establish the running game. You see with the Ticats, just 1 yard rushing. Haven't been able to do that. Got to give credit to the Ottawa front seven.
Second and 7 Renegades. There is early movement down there.
You know, and I would agree with the panel talking about Dan Crowley and that first interception. One, the pressure from Lamont Bryant and the defensive line from the Ticats really in the lap of Dan Crowley caused him to throw that ball a little high.
Number 57, repeat second down.
And I would agree that he's bounced back from it. He looks composed and put 3 points on the board after the fact. Every player goes through highs and lows. It doesn't matter if you're an offensive lineman, running back, receiver, or free safety. There's good and bad plays. You have to have a short memory and line up again.
Crowley to his right on second and long. Another one is picked off. It's Hamilton one more time. 2 for 2, still standing. And dropped at the 30. Crowley was over to make the tackle there, so Brandon Hamilton has a couple of picks. A 16-yard return there.
Again, though, John, there's 3 players that should get the corner for Crowley's. Watch number 9. Darren Davis out here, 28. 82, DJ Flint. They're all trying to contain Joe Mumford and get him out of the face of Dan Crowley. Mumford fought through all that and had to look at the big Joe Mumford, and Crowley had to throw it over top of him. And when he does, he can't put the zip on the ball he wants. Watch Mumford fly out there to the side. 2 guys are supposed to hook him in so that Dan Crowley can get that corner and have a free passing lane. He never had it.
Pete Gonzalez at the control for the Tiger Cats. And absolutely no running room there for Julian Radlin.
And John, this is what Joe Mumford brings to this Hamilton Ticat team, and what he couldn't really do in Toronto because of the scheme. That Hamilton interception is because of 53. Joe Montford is supposed to be hooked and not allowed to get contained here. 82 DJ Flick. There's Darren Davis got to try, and look where Montford is. He doesn't get the sack or hit him.
But he put the pressure on him. He was right with Crowley.
And he's right in his face, making Crowley try and throw it over him.
Gonzalez. And a flag comes down in the coverage against Archie Amerson by Vernon Mitchell.
Now, Vernon Mitchell is going to argue this call.
Did they just get their legs tied up, or did they get the call
well,
right?
It'll be likely illegal contact rather than pass interference.
Pass interference.
Well,
Ottawa, number 31, first down.
It looked like incidental contact to me. They both broke on the ball. I don't think Vernon Mitchell ever really looked to Archie Amerson. He turned to go after the football. And when he did, they sort of collided on shoulders. Now, there's no question a call had to be made because Archie Amerson went down on the collision, and the ball was in the air.
From the Renegades 12, let's see if the Tiger Cats can punch it in from here. Down to the 5. Troy Davis, Kelly Wiltshire.
Go back to that pass interference. And as a defensive back, you've got to make sure you're in control of your body. You see Vernon Mitchell right there, just with a little bump on the shoulder. He was looking at the football, so it was more incidental contact than pass interference. However, it puts the Ticats either way down in the scoring range.
2nd and 5 from the Renegades 6. Here's Pete Gonzalez. He'll bootleg.
Oh, baby, what a block.
Danny McManus ran that a time or two, did he not?
Oh, Tyree Davis at the end of the play, just making sure that Pete Gonzalez had the corner. He may have scored anyway. Tyree Davis, number 84, is going to come into your screen late. He disappears there at the left of your screen. Now Gonzalez is right there. Wilshire's on that back, right in the ear hole. Tyree Davis on Kelly Wilshire just to make sure his quarterback got in the end zone.
A 6-yard run for Pete Gonzalez. His first CFL touchdown. Tiger Cats needed a couple of breaks to get this scoring drive rolling. The interception first, and then an interference call, and then Gonzalez picks the corner. It's 14-4.
See number 2 in your screen, Donovan Carter and Vernon Mitchell, 31, right in the middle. Watch how they are influenced by the play action to Troy Davis. Both of them slide over about 3 yards, and then both are way behind the play. Pete Gonzalez.
All 14 Tiger Cat points off turnovers. A couple of interceptions by Brandon Hamilton. One for a 68-yard return by himself, and the other set up the quarterback, Pete Gonzalez. Nice return for Josh Ronick. Out across the 40 to about the 45, 29 yards there. And we'll see if this can ignite the Renegades offense.
It was a good test for Dan Crowley early in this football season. Here's a guy now who has really, the 2 interceptions turned right into 14 points against his team. And he has to come and compose himself. But what he has to do and has to guard against is trying to aim the football and becoming way too cautious with the football. So you can't have success doing that. You got to get in there and just keep slinging them.
Crowley has time, and he has a target. It's Aubrey Cummings. Cummings ran into 3 Tiger Cats, and he's still not down. Inside the 25. Diedrich Mathis finally tossing him to the turf. 42 yards for Cummings there. Nice looking play.
Aubrey Cummings on the crossing pattern. You see Mike Maurer, number 19, go out. And that pulls the linebacking core with them and opens up in behind for Aubrey Cummings to catch that quick crossing pass. High percentage pass for Crowley. Pick up some pretty nice yardage.
Cummings to the far side this time. Davis. Off tackle left.
Darren Davis, John, is going to have hard running in the middle of that defensive line, and one of the reasons for that is Johnny Scott's arrival here in Hamilton. And Johnny Scott was maybe the victim of a veteran salary and a Canadian import ratio problem in Toronto with Noah Cantor there and a chance to maybe play a Canadian inside. He moves on, but he certainly hasn't lost a step. Happy to be playing football again here in Hamilton, and he's going to get the push that will give Joe Mumford, who will play beside him, that one-on-one on the tackler or running back pretty much every play.
2nd and 8. Quick slant in. Crowley connects. Steve Fisher made the tackle.
First real decision for Joe Paopao. Likely it's going to be a long yard, maybe even 2.
Gerard Gideon comes up a little shy. Well, about 2, maybe 2.5 yards shy here.
And I like this decision.
Take the 3.
Take the 3. Get points, especially in a game where you're just down. If you make the field goal,
it's a
by the
touchdown.
major.
Yeah. Grab 3 here, and you're down by 7.
And then you walk away from a drive where Dan Crowley now in the first half has thrown a couple of picks, but you walk away with a drive with some points and a positive feeling.
Two in a row for Lawrence Tynes. Good on 80% last season. He has the Renegades within a touchdown of the Titans. Welcome back. You can always get interesting guests when you have good seats like this. Here's David Allen, fresh from last night's game.
Yes,
Nice
it was nice to be here. Get an opportunity to see a little bit of CFL because I'm a CFL fan. But
hey, great game last night, Damon. I mean, I know it's a team game, but you put on a show for 4 quarters and then had it stolen from you.
well, that's the disappointing, but that's also the CFL, and it teach you a valuable lesson that you have to play 60 minutes in our game, and you can't allow teams to hang around, and you have to put them away when you get the opportunity to.
Yeah, it can be a humbling game. There's no question about that.
It is humbling, and I think it's still not sitting easy with us. We're watching you run down this morning and getting ready to watch the film, and I guess we're going to watch the film a little later, but it probably will stick with us until we play our next game.
Now you're watching a couple of young quarterbacks here in this one, and it's good to have you in the booth because maybe you can give us a little perspective. It's going through the mind of Pete Gonzalez right now in his first ever start in the CFL. You remember your first start?
I remember my first start, and I was playing against Joe Barnes in 1985, playing the Montreal Alouettes, and actually they were the first place in the East, and we ended up beating them that day, so that gave me a lot of confidence.
I love that shovel pass offense, don't you?
The shovel pass is a good offense. It's probably one of the easiest throws in football.
What does Dan Crowley, Damon, have to do? I mean, quarterback that you will face during the regular season, good young talent, has thrown 2 interceptions, resulted in 14 points. Again, you've likely been there in your career and had those things happen. What does he have to do?
Well, you have to understand the game is only they're 7 points away, and even though with the mistakes they're making, and that's early in the game, he still has to concentrate on making good decisions, but he still has to be aggressive because young quarterback's tendency to throw interceptions early, lacks the confidence to continue with the game. So he has to continue to stay with it and still show confidence.
What was the feeling in your locker room after the game and today when you had your rundown and a chance to get together? I mean, you guys obviously bounced back. It's real early.
Well, we obviously have to be able to learn from how we lost the game and realize that when you get a team down, you got to put them away in the CFL. Hopefully, this is a valuable lesson for our football team, and I think it'll help out in the long run.
1st and 15, Tiger Cats. Gonzalez goes deep. Not this time. No flags.
Corners are playing tonight. You see Brandon Hamilton with 2 interceptions.
Yeah, and Capers makes the play there.
Yeah, he's been right on his man. And once again, stride for stride. And Damon, when you're throwing this up, you just hope your man beats their man, right?
That's true. Well, if you do throw it up, you definitely want the receiver to be real aggressive to the football, and it looks like Capers had a better shot at getting a football at that time.
Yeah, jump in and throw a couple of color comments here. I mean, there might be a time when you decide to retire in 10 or 15 years, Damon, so you may be looking for another gig.
Well, I definitely don't want to take your job, but I wouldn't mind being a part of it.
Uh-oh, loose ball. Renegades have their opportunity here, and a couple get a chance at it. It will be Ottawa ball. Derek Ford eventually coming up with the recovery.
Damon, good luck the rest of the way, and it's nice to see you in the game and staying in the game.
It is nice to be back in the Canadian Football League, and you know, it's a great game, and I'm looking forward to our next game we play.
Yeah, you're only gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, buddy.
David Allen. We'll be right back. Always great to be at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. The NHL entry draft is tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern on TSN. And Ticat fans of all ages out to take a look at this new turf here tonight. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It looks great, and it really should, in the long run, prevent a whole bunch of injuries, although they got a little unlucky with McManus and Rob Hitchcock, but those weren't turf-related injuries.
I think anything but the cement that used to be here is an improvement.
Oh, yeah.
Here's first down. Ronick makes the catch, turns the corner, and the Renegades taking advantage of their turnover to move inside. Brandon Hamilton over to make the tackle. So Hamilton has been busy, but the turnaround for this drive came on the turnover.
Well, you can see Pete Gonzalez is trying to roll out, throw on the run, and there's the strip. Ball's on the ground, and a perfect opportunity now for the Ottawa Renegades, and especially Dan Crowley. And you heard Damon Allen talking about it. Dan Crowley to erase a couple of bad memories in a hurry here if he can punch this one in.
Ford recovering the fumble. Ronick again. Scott Coe, the Ticat middle linebacker, made the stop. Ticats have a couple of touchdowns up, but in 7 possessions, only 25 yards passing and 12 yards rushing. So, I mean, a 68-yard return is the gift. 7 points.
Both basically defensive touchdowns. One where Brandon Hamilton actually scored, the other where he set up the score.
Huge for the Renegades if they can take advantage and come away with points from the Ford turnover. And Crowley won't get it away.
That didn't have a chance.
John McDonald was through, and he celebrates down there.
That didn't have a chance from the get-go. It was just Dan Crowley didn't take the ball cleanly from George Hudson. Crowley last year, his center was Carl Coulter. And you can see he didn't get it cleanly, and then when he did try to back out of there, he stumbled slightly, and it really wouldn't have mattered anyway because John McDonald pretty much had a free run at him.
Lawrence Tynes has nailed a couple. And he's got 3 now. 1 off the post earlier. So the Renegades come away with points, but not the touchdown they were hoping for. Well, an interesting football game happening here tonight at Iverwin. Here's a sack for you.
Yeah, McDonald, you see he just ran straight up the middle unblocked, and that's Main Street. Got to block him on Main Street.
Sacks brought to you by Purolator. Purolator tackling hunger and donating food to the food banks locally for every sack in the CFL this season.
Key position up front for the Ottawa Renegades. Carl Coulter, the veteran, leaving. They moved George Hudson, very capable of playing center, no question, but Hudson last year missed 5 games because of injury and played guard when he did play. So he's going to have to take some time to get used to that spot.
Larry Davis stopped at the 39. Darren Joseph leading the tacklers there. 23 on the return. So Gonzalez tries to respond to what happened to him last time, hitting on 50% of his passes, but for only 25 yards and a quarter and a half of football, those numbers are not terrific at this point.
And it's not surprising. You know, you've got a quarterback in his first start. You got a quarterback on the other team in his second season as a starter. Now, Danny McManus was a backup for 4 years before he settled in.
And his target there, and the ball was dropped. Tony Akins should have had it. Vernon Mitchell was covering.
And then when you take Pete Gonzalez, you put him in his first start, and you say, oh, and by the way, Pete,
a few guys won't be with you tonight.
There's a few guys that were here last year that were pretty good that you won't see on the field to help you out. One happens to be one of the all-time leading receivers in CFL history, and Darren Flutie. Andrew Grigg, who got a couple of Tim Hortons, is doing quite well. And Tony Miles in Toronto.
Wide open, far side. He's got Amerson as he inbounds. Yes. Archie Amerson.
But you do have Archie Amerson.
There you go.
You do have Archie Amerson.
That's the good news for the Tiger Cats in the receiving corps.
And this is a throw from Gonzalez that you see number 9 on the wheel pattern. That's out to the sideline and then right down that white stripe. And Gonzalez puts it out there nicely for him. And that's a confidence builder for Pete Gonzalez. Made the nice read, read the coverage, and put it right to the open man.
A couple of catches for Amerson. And the Ticats put together a nice little march here. Out near the 50 and to this side. That'll be another first down. Andrew English.
Confidence is a funny thing. When you get a little bit of it, it can build in a hurry. And that was a nice hard throw on a timing pattern to the outside. He's on the opposite hash, backs up a couple of steps, put that one on the money and on time. Andrew English catches it going out of bounds. Perfect time, and that's a confidence throw to be able to do that.
21 to Amerson on the other side, 13 to English here. And then on the ground to Davis there. He's in first down territory. Vernon Mitchell made the stop. These two guys on the sidelines have shared a few football moments together, haven't they?
Boy, have they ever. The two of them together, I mean, you count up the years of experience, and then at the key position, how many touchdown passes between them, how many years of experience at the quarterback position between them. My goodness.
Ticats come up 4 yards shy. This is second and that much necessary. And Roger Dunbrack.
That's a nice play by Roger Dunbrack to slow down that momentum, get him in a field goal situation. But let's get back to those quarterbacks. Ron Lancaster, Danny McManus, Damon Allen in the house. That's, was it a Hall of Fame night here or something?
Well, it certainly is.
That's a nice.
If you're asking the question.
Well, that's a Hall of Fame play by Roger Dunbrack on second down.
Yeah, and that snuffs out the drive. They needed 4 yards for a first down, but still positive movement for the Tiger Cat offense as Osbaldiston steps in to try and answer 3 field goals by the Renegades. And he gets one back. A 38-yard field goal for Paul Osbaldiston. Nice, smooth stroke.
Now, Paul Osbaldiston, when we got the notes sent.
Oh, you're not going to tell this story.
Yes, I am, because I talked to him about it.
Okay.
He had a very good laugh about it. We got the notes sent to us just to see some of the stats on the players, and Paul Osbaldiston's bio, it said 6'2", 253 pounds. And I went up and I said, now Ozzy, I know you're not the slimmest kicker in the entire league, but you're not 253. And he looked at me laughing, said, not even at Christmas. Not even at Christmas time. 50% in the preseason, but he said not to worry. He said, I'm breaking in a new holder. I feel great. And look for another big year from Paul Osbaldiston.
Yeah, he's no Lawrence Tynes, is he?
And he's no 253 either.
I didn't think you'd have the guts to mention that to him. Because it's obviously a misprint.
And then, yeah, and then he also said, and by the way, I'm 6'3", not 6'2".
Well, 6'3", you can carry 250, right? Good fake by Crowley, and it's underthrown. Another one picked off. Diedrich Mathis is there this time. 3 interceptions thrown up by Dan Crowley. He's down by a touchdown here. That one is underthrown clearly.
Well, with the frustration of Dan Crowley after the throw, though, and obviously another Ticat in his face. Obviously didn't get enough on that. You see the wobble on the ball, it's thrown well inside. My question there, though, to Denny Montana is, was that designed to be a post pattern or a post seam with Denny Montana coming into the middle? And that's something that only the quarterback and receiver will know. But you could tell by the frustration of Crowley afterwards saying, I'd like to have you a little bit more in the middle on that. Now, obviously, he didn't get enough on the ball either.
Gonzalez for the Tiger Cats, another wide open target far side, and he can't make the connection. Tyree Davis. There's a penalty marker over there near the 35.
There's the other side of this issue, though, and then one is that those turnovers by Crowley have cost the Ottawa Renegades.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Ottawa, number 21. First down.
Cost the Renegades 14 points. That's the one downside. The other is it continues, this extra interception continues to put the defense back on the field. And the longer your defense stays out onto the field, the more tired they become. And that's when the opposition starts to make some yardage.
Penalty on Byron Capers. First down, Tiger Cats at the 30 here. Davis. And a nice long chat with head coach Lancaster about the quarterbacking situation in Hamilton. Remind us, we'll tell you the story when we come back. Fab Four in the makeup room right now, but they'll be ready at halftime.
John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Talking to Lancaster about this quarterbacking situation, going with Pete Gonzalez, a raw rookie tonight. He's seen worse.
Yeah.
Remember 2 years ago when Cody Ledbetter broke his leg?
After McManus was hurt, Ledbetter went in, broke his leg, back up for years.
Yeah, he finally got his chance and he couldn't go. So he had a couple of guys that he went to. Todd Bankhead, you remember him?
Yeah.
And little Billy Dickens.
Right. And I love his quote when he said, after starting Pete Gonzalez, says, you know, I'm not really too worried about it because there's been worse. Back 2 years ago when you mentioned it, he said, you know, there was a point at that time 2 years ago where we just throw 3 or 4 footballs out on the grass and we'd open the doors and we'd hope that someone just kind of walked up, picked them up and started throwing them. That's where we were.
Well, yeah, and he was asking everybody on the team if they could throw.
Yeah.
Hitchcock had an audition.
Yeah, they said,
it was pretty good time.
Anyone throw the football. So he said, you know, I'm okay with Pete Gonzalez playing tonight.
Decently happy with this situation. And McManus will be back sooner than originally anticipated. So that's the good news. We just don't know exactly when.
Well, one thing you got to love about the first half of this football game is the play of the corners. You know, Byron Capers,
number 31 here,
play, and Brandon Hamilton for the Hamilton Tigers.
31 there.
Yeah, and both have really, you know, both are veterans that have come to play tonight in game 1 of the season. And defensive back, you'd love to get that good start, get some stats on the board, help your team win. The panel mentioned it at the beginning of the game with the quarterback starting in his first year. You really need some points on your defense. Certainly the Ticats have provided that tonight.
68 for the touchdown, and this one set up another touchdown. The Renegades, though, are hanging in. Dan Crowley, near side. He's had 3 picked off, and a penalty marker is down. Bendros was the target there.
Chris Schelling had perfect coverage, and what they're starting to do now, the Ticats defensively, starting to disguise some coverage and then drop out of there. Sort of look like to Dan Crowley that they're going to come on a blitz and then jump right out and get into coverage. And Schelling was right underneath that throw. If that throw's low, it's another interception. Just watch the end. Very beginning of this play, Chris Schelling was up in the line. Then he dropped right underneath the receiver. You see, Schelling is in perfect position. If that ball is low and in there, he's going the other way.
Penalty against the Tiger Cats, so the Renegades get a break here. It's 1st and 5. Davis, he'll have about 3. You've seen this view before, haven't you?
Yeah, a few times. Whoa! There's a whole bunch of chips on the floor right now, people at home jumping out of their seats.
Crowley should have the first down. That's the indication. He needed less than a yard.
You know, one thing when you're disguising a lot of defenses like Hamilton is starting to do, showing some blitz, dropping out of there, showing some different looks, and then rotating into different coverages. One way that Dan Crowley can help himself there is to extend his snap count, make the defense declare.
Crowley on first down, open target far side. Sherrard Gideon making the tackle or the catch there and forced out.
And it looked like he did that on that play. He got into the shotgun. He waited till the third or fourth hut, so he's red 45 or whatever he calls. That gets the formation set up, and then it goes hut one, hut, and make sure that he extends that snap count so that the Ticats can't hold the water that long. They've got to declare sooner or later.
Gideon picks up 8 and a bit, and this will be a first down. So the Renegades continue this drive with 1:40 on the clock. Kyle Walters stepping up from his safety spot to make the tackle.
Kyle Walters hasn't been tested just yet in the passing game, but we mentioned at the top of the show they're pretty comfortable with Kyle Walters at safety. He's got lots of experience, 7 years in the league. Good buddies with Rob Hitchcock as well.
Golfing partners. Montana slanting in. Good speed as always. He's gone. Montana has the touchdown.
He caught the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the perfect defense. This is called a cut coverage. And what that means is the halfback on the play is going to drop back deep into the deep outside third. That's number 22 to the right of your screen. He is deep outside third. Denny Montana now catches the ball right there. Look at the pocket of grass that he has to run to before Fisher even shows up. And then he takes a bad angle, and Montana's in the end zone.
Have you checked the scoreboard? 61-yard drive, 39-yard touchdown, and the scoreboard reads dead even. 17-17. And it took a while to get some touchdowns.
It's the perfect coverage. It was the perfect play in the perfect coverage, and that again is scouting from the coaching staff of the Ottawa Renegades. That's Joe Pow down on the sideline, Kent Austin up in the booth, understanding in certain situations what they may see from the Hamilton defense. And if you can catch on a screen like that, defensive backs in that particular coverage, you've got lots of room to make some moves, and Montana took off to the end zone. Nice play call from that coaching staff.
1:28 till halftime. Dan Crowley and the Renegades hanging in. Danny Montana has his first touchdown of 2003. When I say hanging in, when you've thrown a couple of touchdowns or interceptions, one for a touchdown, one to set up another touchdown, and you're even at this stage of the opening half, you are hanging in.
Well, no question, and you're on the road.
Larry Davis. Fred Perry bringing down Davis on the return.
6 plays, a confidence-building drive for Dan Crowley. Finished on a high percentage pass, a little hit screen, and catching the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the perfect coverage. Perfect for Ottawa, I should say.
There you go. Tyree Davis to the near side along with Archie Amerson. Gonzalez got some pressure, shoveled it ahead for Amerson. He turned the corner, and he's halfway to a first down with 1:14 till halftime. Eric Lee over to make the tackle.
Well, that touchdown, too, from Danny Montana. Such a confidence builder for this team. Like you say, they've gone through some adversity in the first half. Crowley with a few interceptions. You got to keep slinging them, just like Damon Allen mentioned earlier. Come in there, don't be hesitant. Keep slinging that football. Good things will happen, and they just did.
On second down, Gonzalez has that one batted out of the air. Gerald Vaughn, number 39, got a hand on it. They moved Vaughn up into a linebacking spot.
Yeah, and when he's up there now, he has a chance to make more plays. Basically, that's the bottom line. I mean, Gerald Vaughn is a playmaker. Big physical guy, always has been as a defensive back. Makes a ton of tackles every year, so why not get him a little closer to the line of scrimmage so he can make plays? And by the way, as the Hamilton Ticats try to punt, he blocks a few of those in his career.
He's been known to get a couple, and they were close there. Bendras has about 4 on the return, and there's a flag flying from a long way away on that return.
Illegal block. Ottawa, number 30, on the run back. First down.
That's Josh Ronick.
Take a look at this play and see Josh Ronick is trying to get his head to the side. And Scott Coe is the guy who makes the tackle anyway, so he's wondering why he got the penalty tacked on. That's a tough matchup for Josh Ronick. Trying blocks Scott Coe on the special teams.
Renegades are deep in their own zone inside the 20 to begin this series with 50 seconds on the clock now, facing second down, a little better than 5.
Darryl Ladrolin, the new defensive coordinator for the Hamilton Ticats, has put in a different system, and Ron Lancaster said he loves the system, but until they play a couple of games, he's not going to be sure if this defense is completely bought into it. He feels that they have. He hopes that they have, and so far played pretty well tonight.
2nd and 5. Nice catch. And he held Davis.
Dan Crowley put a ton of zip
He really
on a 6-yard pass that took Darren Davis right off his feet.
20 seconds till halftime. Davis tries the left side, and he's strung out with 8 seconds on the clock, but there's plenty of time to go in a 17-17 game.
Well, what the
Heck, the Riders and the Argonauts didn't even start playing last night till third quarter or so.
Well, we've seen a little bit of everything in the first 2 games of the 2003 season. OT in game 1 and 2 good comebacks in both games. But what they've done now, the Ottawa Renegades have with 1 first down, they basically ended the half, and that's really all they wanted to do in this series.
Davis again, and 4 seconds still remain. Joe Monford was there to make the tackle.
And it's nice to see Darren Davis playing the way he is, because with an injury that he had in the neck, and you wonder how, even if you're physically 100%, how psychologically you'll respond. And obviously he hasn't even thought about it.
And it's nice to see Joe Monford back in a Tiger Cat uniform. He never looked comfortable as an Argonaut. I mean, these are the colors that Joe Monford should be wearing.
Well, one of the reasons for that is because he always had someone to the outside of him in Toronto. He likes to be out there dangling on the edge, right out there. Then he can direct traffic and move around and make things happen.
Without a flag, that will do it. The opening half at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. Lots to talk about. Entertaining, I thought.
We're going to have to wait till the second half to decide it.
It's Wendy's Friday Night Football, even at halftime.
At the Half, brought to you by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL. Wendy's, it's better here.
You're certainly right, John Wells. There's lots to talk about. Hi again, everybody. We're at the half. Dave Randorf, Chris Schultz, Matt Dunnigan, Jock Climby. A 10-point Hamilton lead is gone. It's all tied up. Denny Montana certainly bounced around in his CFL career, but he's got the latest touchdown, the 5th of his career. Let's go on down the line. Let's talk about this one, starting with Hamilton. What do you see?
I think going into the game, Ottawa had a lot of the advantages, so that was a good first half of football for the Ticats. The 3 interceptions, Osbaldiston, the kicker, has the field goal. That's very important. But I also think that Pete Gonzalez has done a good job of avoiding the mistakes, except for that one. That's the only mistake he's really made, the 7:39 mark of the second quarter. But then a few plays later, he has the ability to come back to find the open receiver and complete the pass. All things considered, he's been playing a pretty good first half because he's doing the best thing a quarterback can do is make some plays but avoid those big mistakes.
That's right. Only one mistake to Dan Crowley's 3. But I tell you, not all of them were Dan's fault. Right. He did throw one right to Brandon Hamilton on the corner. The other 2, I'm questioning. You know, he's got a lot of pressure, and I'll tell you what happens. There's a lot of things can happen up front that can really throw our quarterback off, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right here, this man, McDonald, comes scot-free, and I'll tell you why. Because they're not blocking inside out. They need to be down here, and this man right here, he needs to be the one coming free. But John McDonald from McGill University says, thank you very much for messing up that protection. And Dan Crowley's got that defensive line living in his backfield. A lot of things going on in football. It's not an eye game. It's a team game, and the team's got to be coordinated. And right now, they're looking a little off. It's good to see them stick with Crowley as he works through that during the first half.
If I'm the Ottawa Renegades, I'm feeling pretty good about things right now. I mean, you've thrown 3 interceptions, 2 have resulted in touchdowns, and the game is tied. I mean, they've got lots of positives here. Lawrence Tynes is kicking the lights out once again. Had a great preseason. He's continuing that. Denny Montana scores a great touchdown by just going straight ahead and using his speed. He did it in the preseason as well. Kudos to Coach Pow for keeping Dan Crowley in the game, having confidence in the guy. I think he's going to be the person that leads them to victory this evening. And, you know, I'll tell you what Ottawa's saying right now. They had 2 preseason games against Montreal. They got blitzed every single down. Finally, they're in a game where they can drop back and use their rhythm, and now finally they're starting to get it going.
Kudos to Joe Pow for hanging with Crowley, but I'm sure he's saying to him right now, when you see number 31, you just throw away. Throw away from 31.
It's that simple.
Because Brandon Hamilton has a couple of picks, including this one right here, which he took to the house, 68 yards the other way. But we got ourselves a tie ball game, folks. 17 up in Hamilton. We are at the half in Hamilton. Coming up is game 2 of our Wendy's Friday Night Football doubleheader. It's going to be Kahari Jones, Milt Stegall, and the Bombers in BC to take on the Lions who begin the Wally Buono era there. For more, let's take you out west and bring in Rod Black. Rod?
Well, thank you, Dave. Good evening from BC Place. As you know, you never know what to expect from a season opener, but we might expect, based on All-Star Awards the last 3 years, that we might have a most outstanding evening. The last 3 most outstanding players in the Canadian Football League all in action tonight. Kahari Jones, Milt Stegall for the Bombers, Stegall winning last year, and Dave Dickinson makes his return to the CFL. Of course, he won the Most Outstanding Player Award in 2000 with Calgary. I think that was the last time that Leif Pettersson was in a booth as well.
Might have been.
But it's interesting to see Dave Dickinson because really all he's been doing is carrying a clipboard in the NFL, and he wants to play football.
Well, sure he does, but you know what? That might not have been a bad thing to have 2 years off because when he left the league in 2000, he was a beaten-up quarterback. Now, I know he's tough. He's kind of like our Matty Dunnigan back in the studio there, but he took a pounding his last year. But it was a great year, and I guess what I liked about Dave Dickinson more than anything else was his touchdown-interception ratio in 2000 when he was the MVP, 36 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. And that's what this league needs. It needs a lot of stars. He's a big star. I hope he can recapture what he had a few years ago. But, Rod, this is not the same cast in BC that he had when he was playing in Calgary. When we come back in the second half of our doubleheader, we'll tell you all about it, but it's a different team than he had a few years ago.
He does have his old head coach, though, because it's Wally's world here in Vancouver. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Thanks, Rod. Welcome back to Leif Pettersson, to the TSN football crew, and a welcome back in Hamilton to Joe Montford. More in a moment. Here are the halftime numbers. Chris Schultz, go.
Well, look at this. 3 turnovers to 1. Those 2 extra turnovers mean everything. Look at 192 to 65 total yards. The only reason the Renegades are tying this football game, those 2 extra mistakes.
Very nice, big man.
All right.
Claude Fegg spoke with Ron Lancaster.
With Tiger Cats head coach Ron Lancaster, Ron, the talk coming in was whether Pete Gonzalez could move this team. He hasn't thrown a TD pass, but he ran one in, and you guys are tied at the half. Are you happy with his progress?
Yeah, I'm kind of happy with the way he's playing. You know, we had a couple key interceptions that we made, one for a touchdown to get us going. But, yeah, he's still a little rusty. But, yeah, we're happy with him.
What about the defense? Obviously, 3 picks. They seem to be doing their job.
Well, they're doing a good job. You know, you got to cover guy man coverage, though. But, I mean, for all in all, for the first 30 minutes of the season, yeah, we're pretty happy with things.
Okay, Coach, good luck in the second half. Thank you.
Here's the latest touchdown of this football game. Dan Crowley seeing Denny Montana, who takes the pass and does the rest 39 yards later. It's tied at 17. Third quarter is right after the break.
Beautiful night in Southern Ontario. Our view from Iberwin Stadium. At sunset. Good football game when you really look at it. 17-17.
Well, both defenses have played well in the first half, even though there's 17 points on the board for both teams. Good play out of the defensive secondaries. Brandon Hamilton's had a great night with a couple of interceptions for the Ticats. Byron Capers playing well on the corner for the Ottawa Renegades. Both, of course, veteran defensive backs playing against young quarterbacks.
Yeah, and that makes...
Yeah, that's exciting as a DB. You like that.
That makes them grin, doesn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, the Renegades come back to get even. Here's Lisa Hillary with head coach Joe Powell.
Coach, unfortunately, 3 interceptions for Dan Crowley in the first half. What was said at the half, and how important is it for him to come back, stay composed, and get settled?
It's part of the first game of the year. You know, there's a lot of excitement going on, and he's got to settle down. And, you know, he put a drive together for us, and we're moving the ball. We're just not sticking it in the end zone, but we'll come away with field goals if we have to.
You said yesterday that you did not want to use Kerry Joseph unless you absolutely had to. Would you hesitate in putting him in if Crowley doesn't give you what you want?
Well, anything's possible, and he may be able to play, but we'll start with Danny right now.
Thanks very much. Good luck the next half.
Thank you.
And we're underway. 17 each as the Renegades return. This is Bengras right to midfield, stopped at the 55.
Bengras, you got to give him credit. He's still running hard up in there. He's been hit hard in the special teams, and Dan Crowley hit hard with those interceptions, but like Joe Powell mentioned, he can get him back in the game, and he did get a couple of drives together, including a nice high percentage throw to Denny Montana for a touchdown.
Gonzalez hitting on 50%, but not many yards.
Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 21. First down.
That's Trayvon Waller for the Tiger Cats. So the Renegades will scrimmage from near the 40 following the late hit.
You see the end of it right here. Bengras is down. Actually,
Muzika's on top of him. Not number 21. Davis. And there's no running room there. Ran right into Chris Schelling.
Penetration from Lamont Bryant really ended that play because Davis had to change directions about 3 or 4 yards deep in the backfield. And when he did that, that really limited the gain. And Lamont Bryant's been getting up the field. He's the other guy. There's Joe Montford now again, and then he's the other guy, the other side.
Bryant wore 53 last year as a Tiger Cat. Said it didn't bother him a bit, but as soon as Montford got back to town, he gave it right back to him and moved to 97. Crowley far side. He's got a target inbounds. Yes.
I got to show you Joe Montford. That's a nice throw from Dan Crowley, but
to Bengras.
This is the game away from the game. And watch Montford. Watch what he does right here. Slides out. DJ flick. He flicks him off his shoulder. Goes through Burns. Takes on Darren Davis. Joe Montford was triple teamed there, and he kind of flick off his shoulder like. Wow, that's what Montford, and you have to do that with Joe Montford. You have to put more than one guy on him, which should theoretically open up someone else on that defensive line.
Now Lawrence Tynes, he's made 3 in a row This field goal will come from the 39. Smoothly through it, and the Renegades have the lead. It's 20-17 as Ottawa has bounced back in spite of handing a couple of early touchdowns to the Tiger Cats. Well, here's Rob Hitchcock, the one that Suter called Alfred once. Remember that?
I did, and I almost got one of these across the face for it. There's the broken arm. What's up with it? How long are you thinking?
Got to stay optimistic. I'm right now. They're looking probably about 7 to 8 weeks. You know, I've got a plate in there with six screws in it, so we're going to have to take each day by day and see what happens.
Now you went to the Glenn Suter Safety School. I don't know how this can possibly happen.
He didn't tell me what happens here. I mean, I thought everything would be cool.
Now,
but,
what did I tell you? In class number 1, Canadian free safeties cannot get hurt.
Yes, you did tell me that. Thank you.
You put together a great season. How's your protege doing right now? Kyle Walters, you've been watching him.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. Like I said, he's been behind me for the last 6 years. There's not a better guy that could be behind there. He knows the defense really well, and I'm looking forward to see him play tonight. He's played great so far, and our defense has actually played really well. Our offense has got to get some things going, but we'll see what happens in the third quarter.
Rob, we talked about earlier in the show about the difference in the defensive system now and what you guys are dealing with. In general terms, how is it different under Darryl Ledrolin?
Well, we've got more of a blitz package. We show a lot of different things with compared to Don Southern's defense last year. But it's a definitely one-on-one defense when we're in blitzing situations, and you really have to be able to read really well in this defense. And if you don't, you can get burned on it pretty quick. And we've learned that in preseason once or twice. But we're actually gelling together really well as a defense right now.
How do you explain this? You play about 9 years on this turf here in Hamilton when it's a cement floor, and they put brand new turf in for you, and you get hurt that first week.
I play for 2 minutes and 13 seconds, and on beautiful turf, and I get injured. So that's the way it goes in this league. So,
Tell us about this turf, because I've heard that the players are really enjoying it.
They are. I mean, it's not the same field as Ottawa's. It's kind of a very similar turf to that. They've got about 3.5 inches of a rubber-based kind of a material underneath it, which gives it the the nice softness when you land on it. It's great for cutting. You can wear different kinds. You can wear the cleated shoes. You can wear the the little studded bottoms, and anything pretty well works on this. So we're real happy we got it this year. I just hope I get a chance. Maybe Labor Day I get a chance to play on this.
Well, and you guys are practicing on it as well, right?
Every day the guys are practicing on it and getting used to it, because we're not used to this stuff. So it doesn't really give with your foot. So you've got to really be able to plant and get your foot out of there. So.
Well, Lancaster said it's really good for the coaches too, because his back's not getting as sore, so he may be able to coach for another 20 years.
Well, if he wants to keep me, I'll play for 20 with him. Well, that's great.
So what's it like coming to the game with your parents for the first time in a few seasons? I mean, is it tough sitting in the stands?
Well, it is. I mean, they brought me here ever since I was 8, 9 years old, and to come up and sit in the stands with them tonight is a real honor. And my dad sat me beside him, and he said it was just like old times. And he misses me out there, but you got to, like I said before, you got to stay optimistic, and you got to be able to take each day by day and not come back too soon. And hopefully things will work out for me in a couple of weeks.
Well, it is amazing, because we take a look at Danny McManus, and to me, you've lost in the preseason game, in the same game, your quarterback on offense and your quarterback
on defense.
Yeah.
Because you call the plays.
Yeah, it's funny like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You calling from the stands here tonight?
I'm trying to get the crowd going with my hands, but nobody really seems to know who I am.
Well, you only have one of them.
Actually, they're calling me Joe Millionaire in the crowd, so I don't like that very often.
Well, listen, good to see you, and happy that you're smiling about this.
Yeah.
We'll hope you're back on the field as soon as you possibly can be there.
I appreciate it, guys. Say hi to the boys in the booth. Schultz and Hunnigan and those guys.
Yeah.
Good job, Rob.
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
Appreciate it.
You can still shake. Oh,
I can.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's perfect. Thanks, Rob. Thanks. Lots of visitors up here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Osbaldiston got another charge. Bendros with a spin maneuver. It didn't fool the Tiger Cat defenders. -3 on the return. It's the Renegades by 3 on the Tiger Cats on Wendy's Friday Night Football. This is a cheer for Andre and O'Toole coming up with Sports Center.
How many times has that happened to those two?
I don't think it's ever happened before. They're not on for a while because there's a football game following this. So it's 2 a.m. Eastern for the next edition of Sports Center, but the guys will be ready as we are here tonight at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. Picture perfect nights for Game 3 in 2003. Crowley himself Scott Coe over to make the tackle, but Crowley really put a nice move on the Tiger Cat defense. You can vote for the Rogers AT&T Wireless Player of the Game. Imagine getting more from your phone on the internet at CFL.ca or by text messaging. We invite you to vote. No one home for Crowley there.
Well, the first couple of throws that Crowley overthrew his intended target for interceptions, he had pressure in his face. That time, he put it around the quarterback. He's checking the sweat on his hands and all those kind of things. But that he had a throwing lane there. He had a pocket around him, and that one just got away on him.
Numbers have improved substantially, at least in the area of completions. The interceptions are what has kept this game close.
Now this is 2nd and 10. This is Joe Montfort time right here. This is where Joe Montfort gets that one-on-one on the outside.
Here he comes. Crowley got it away. He won't get a first down out of the reception by Reggie Jones.
See, and not a bad decision by Ottawa, though, to throw away from Montfort and get that ball going the opposite direction so that all he can do is chase.
Harper is in. Crowley heads out, as does Montfort. Mission accomplished for the Tiger Cat defense. Glenn Harper, net punting average last season 34. That's Larry Davis. Deep for the Tiger Cats. Bouncing at about the 20. Renegades scatter, but a flag comes down anyway, along with Larry Davis at the 25.
You know, both teams aren't playing all that badly when you consider their quarterback situation, and especially with the Hamilton Tiger Cats with that man headset on. And last year against the Ottawa Renegades, Danny McManus had a pretty good night. 513 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and didn't win.
That was the Renegades' 2nd win in franchise history. They beat the Bombers in week 3, if you recall. Right. And you throw for 513 and 3 touchdowns, and lose. That's a tough night.
Well, but that's why when you hear quarterbacks, and it goes both ways. Danny McManus, Damon Allen, it doesn't matter. Quarterback's been around a long time.
Excellent play over the middle for Julian Redline. Donovan Carter over to make the tackle.
Quarterbacks who've been around a long time, and they'll say, you know, you've always heard that stats are something that is not real important to the great quarterbacks in the history of football, because they know that they can have that kind of day. They know they can have a 500-yard passing day and maybe not win the game, or throw for 102 yards and 4 interceptions and still the team finds a way to win. So numbers can be deceiving at times.
Radlin picks up the first down. Davis gets a couple on that carry.
Well, who's got bragging rights so far in the Davis family? Troy on one side and Darren on the other. You know, this is more than just a game for the siblings. When your brother's playing against you, you want to make sure you have more yards at the end of the day. And right now, Darren's got the lead.
41 yards for Darren Davis of the Renegades. Another pick.
Remember earlier we talked about the defensive backs.
Vernon Mitchell here.
For the Ottawa Renegades, taking some risks. in order for a curl pattern to work, two things have to happen. One, the receiver has to make the pattern look like he's going deep. He has to go and push that defensive back off him, make it look like he's going deep. In order to respect that, though, defensive backs got to believe that the quarterback may do some kind of double move. You see how Vernon Mitchell just settled his feet right away, and he said, I'm taking that curl the opposite way. Gonzalez is trying to throw it on time. He can't do too many. If that's Danny McManus, he goes with the pump fake, and it's in behind him.
Darren Davis. He's run well. Maybe that is his best of the night. Carried a couple of Ticats on his back, and Sean Woodson finally brought him down.
This play is, you put this play under just heart and desire. That's what this play is. It's just all heart and desire. Point of attack wasn't even there. Good move there. Almost tackled, kept his feet moving. Took a hit, kept going. Took another hit, kept the feet chugging. That's 100% heart from Darren Davis.
Took 4 Tiger Cats to bring him down at last. 19 yards the gain. This is Ronick. Josh Ronick for about 3. He was thrust into the starter's role when Davis went down last year, and fairly effectively.
Well, he was. 13 games. He had close to 700 yards rushing, and the only knock against Josh Ronick was that he put the ball on the ground a few too many times, and especially early when he came into the game for the Ottawa Renegades, and he's fixed that problem since.
There were 8 fumbles by Ronick last year. He held on somehow.
Wow.
Reggie Jones able to hold on to the ball there.
Okay, so Darren Davis had the inspirational run that was all heart and desire, and that catch from Jones, that was all courage.
It was. I'd say that's summing it up pretty well.
That's the danger zone. When you run that slant, that's the danger zone in there. Nice catch.
From the 8-yard line, 1st and goal to go, Renegades, and they'll whistle this down. Just to finish on Ronick, he fumbled 8 times last year in the Renegade backfield. In his college career, he spent 4 years and fumbled once. He was a victim of circumstance a couple of times last year as well.
Repeat first down.
He had a nice 5.4-yard average, and like you say, in 13 games, almost 700 yards. He plays the whole season. He's over 1,000, so he puts together a pretty good year. And he's a very similar style running back to Darren Davis. Low to the ground, low center of gravity, tremendously quick feet, and bursts through the hole in a hurry.
1st and goal to go now from the Tiger Cats 13. Man open far side. It's Ronick, and he's inside the 5. Brandon Hamilton made the tackle. There's another marker down.
And where the marker is, I'm wondering if this was either going to be called a rub offensively or a pick offensively. Josh Ronick was going out into the flat. The receivers from the outside were coming in, and I'm wondering if a pick was made somewhere along the way.
Well, he had a lot of space out there, no matter which way you looked at it. Wide open.
And maybe going against the Ticats.
Offside, Hamilton, number 21. Repeat first down.
We'll take 1st and 5.
Trayvon Waller.
Well, I think Waller jumped up into the line of scrimmage to avoid that rub. Actually jumped into the neutral zone.
So it's back to where we started. 1st and goal to go. Renegades at the Ticat 8. All Ottawa in the 2nd half so far. Davis wrapped up.
There's a nice look at Scott Coe and what he can do. That play is right into Scott Coe's strength. And that's his speed to the ball. And that's what Ron Lancaster wants out of him, is just the ability, Scott Coe, to just use his speed and fly around and make tackles. He's right in the middle of your screen, number 56. He's going to jump out of there. Now watch how quickly he moves to the outside, slides right into that hole, makes a nice tackle right at the point of attack.
A rookie from the University of Manitoba, at least as a starter. He was here last year as well. But he's hanging in at the middle linebacker spot. The touchdown toss is behind the target. A little miscommunication down there, Reggie Jones.
Well, it was more of pressure on the play from Shelling-John, I feel, from that defensive blitz. Crowley threw that ball before he wanted to. Here comes the pressure. Watch this. He gets the ball, barely takes a look, and look at Shelling coming off the edge.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Reggie Jones had not come out of his break yet, and that ball was already on its way. So that's just pressure forcing a quick throw.
Jones turned around in the end zone about a half a second too late.
Right.
Lawrence Tynes. He's got a night going, a 17-yard field goal. Put his first off the upright, and he's made everything else since as the Renegades pad the lead. It's week 1 of 2003. Wendy's Friday Night Football continues when we're done here in Iberwin and Hamilton on a beautiful evening all the way out to the West Coast with the Blue Bombers debuting against the BC Lions. First game for both teams. So stay with us for that. Friday night doubleheader.
Two great quarterbacks in that one. Kahari Jones, Dave Dickinson. All the weapons of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Milt Stegall, Charles Roberts. That'll be fun to watch.
Lions in their retro uniforms. Looking back to celebrate an anniversary of football on the West Coast. BC Lions were formed in 1954, 50 years ago. Jared Smith for the Tiger Cats. Stopped at the 26. Fred Perry was there. Reggie Slack came over from the Argonauts in the last 10 days with the injury to Danny McManus.
Talking to Ron Jr., a guy who puts the game plan together along with the quarterbacks, and asked him, with Danny McManus out, Pete Gonzalez gets a smaller play package, I'm assuming. He said absolutely. Then he said okay. And then when you get to Reggie Slack, only been here a few days, he said yeah, it's even smaller, but we know that he can execute the plays that we have for him.
Pete Gonzalez getting his first start in the Canadian Football League, and a man, Andrew English, couldn't hang on.
Can't throw it any better. You can't throw it or execute it any better until the end of the play.
English with a couple of years on the West Coast with the Lions and 3 in Toronto. Settling in Hamilton this year. And should have made the catch.
One of those ones where as a receiver, can't let the ball touch your body. Catch the ball with your hands.
Gonzalez to the other side, and that one is dropped as well, although there was tight coverage over there.
But see, John, that's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing though for Troy Davis, and it's happened to 2 receivers in a row in this case. One running back, but 2 potential receivers. Here, the guy's out of the backfield, and Troy Davis, ball is thrown right to him, and instead of catching it with his hands out away from his body, he lets it get close, get off his pads. As soon as that ball hits your pads anywhere, it's going to bounce out. Also, when you have someone pressuring you, putting some pressure on your back or leaning on you, ball will bounce out even more. So catch the ball with your hands.
They've been coming close, and they get a flag this time. Osbaldiston goes down. Sean Woodson making the tackle upfield. It's Josh Roddick talking to Ozzie and saying, I didn't even touch you.
And he's saying to Ozzie, would you go tell the refs that I didn't really touch you? Just go tell them and be honest. Like that will happen.
Well, Ozzie will tell them.
Contacting the kicker, Ottawa, number 30, first down.
He'll tell them right after the season is over.
Yeah, well, or maybe just the game. Because once the game's in the book, so you're not going to go back. But did barely touch the bottom of his foot.
Well, the Stratford Festival is just down the road, you know. Not that far from Hamilton. Gonzalez gets another chance. And this time the catch is made. A tougher one, in fact.
And that'll be ruled a catch.
Byron Capers.
Tyree Davis on the sideline, because Tyree Davis was pushed out of bounds. When he left his feet, he was in bounds, and then the momentum of the defensive back, Byron Capers in this case, pushed him out of bounds. See, when he left his feet, he's in bounds. That push, well, he even got a foot in anyway. Got a foot in anyway. And you only need 1 foot.
10-yard gain. Gonzalez has the Ticats moving. After the penalty, one hop that one. Capers was covering again.
You know, and when you look at this second half and a couple of good things that Pete Gonzalez has done, you know, really no need to make the change to Reggie Slack. The game is still well within reach. Pete Gonzalez has put the ball in the right place a couple times, had it put on the ground. It's not his fault.
I mean, the numbers are not terrific, but he is getting stronger and playing with a little more confidence. I think you'd have to agree with that. Thanks to the defense, the Tiger Cats have 14 on the board. English makes the catch this time.
That's another good throw. You know, when Danny McManus went down in the preseason, a lot of people here in Hamilton were basically panicking, saying, you know, we got to bring in another quarterback. We got to bring in Slack. This is a wide field out. He stepped into the throw, put it right on the money on time, and it's a pretty nice throw. People panic. And if you don't go with Pete Gonzalez, why was he in training camp in the first place?
Coverage was too tight on Tyree Davis right there. Absolutely correct.
You know, I mean, and I understand the insurance policy. You bring in Reggie Slack as an insurance policy. He's got experience in the league. But certainly, Pete Gonzalez earns the right for a chance in game 1 when the starter goes down. And then if something happens to him or he really struggles, Reggie Slack sees the field.
Well, you were looking back to Lancaster talking about the days of Cody Ledbetter being here, and he was hurt when McManus went down. And so now you're down 2 quarterbacks, and that was a nervous time in Hamilton. Ticat fans still remember the names Todd Bankhead and Billy Dickens.
Yeah.
And that was a tough 3 weeks.
Lancaster's darkest days, he said, as a coach. Uh-oh. And that's a good decision. Now,
got rid of it.
Yeah. Pete Gonzalez recognized Kelly Wilshire was free through the gap and just got rid of the ball and saved the field position. Wilshire, number 1. He's going to come from the right of your screen. And here he comes right in the, just on the outside. See him slide to the inside there. Now he's free. Gonzalez recognizes it, get the ball out, make sure it's over the line of scrimmage, and near a receiver. I don't have a intentional grounding call. Put the punt team on the field.
And in reality, after the call against Osbaldiston, Ticats moved about 35 yards upfield. So a positive series, in spite of the fact they don't get points.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a good point because it's probably a difference of 30 or 40 yards in field position.
That's exactly what it is. Marcus Spencer leading the tacklers there. The conference continues at the Ticat bench. Iverwin and Hamilton. The Renegades on top of the Tiger Cats, 23-17. First down, Ottawa. Good fake.
Well, I'm going to be
trying to return the pass.
I'm going to make the point one more time. Darren Davis, what did he do there? Let the ball hit his shoulder pads.
Well, yes.
Comes out of the backfield, and it comes right off his shoulder pads. And he went right back to the huddle and told Dan Crowley, okay, I'll use my hands next time. And they had the nice screen set up because Joe Montford had come in the blitz, and they tried to run the screen right in behind him.
As a result, 2nd and 10, Ottawa. Shotgun Crowley over the middle, and that was tipped.
So that's, you're right, John, that roughing the kicker call, you get 30, 35 yards in field position, then a 2-and-out from your defense, and you could feel not only in the stadium, but you could just feel from the bench, the Hamilton Ticats, that momentum starting to build.
Just a little shift.
They're going to get good field position here, probably on Ottawa's side of the field, depending on the punt and the return. And the momentum shift, even though you're behind, is important.
Well, the Tiger Cats are only a couple of field goals behind. Here's Harper standing at his 3. High. Not around much of a return wrapped up by Tim Fleiser. Actually, he lost 2 in the return. 1st and 10 when we return. Ticats on first down, positive yardage, plenty for a first down. For Tyree Davis, took a little hitch pass.
Pitch pass has been pretty successful for both teams in this game. And it's been the running after the catch that's made the difference. Remember Denny Montana's touchdown for Ottawa. Tyree Davis now gets involved.
22 yards for Tyree Davis. And the Cats are set up at the Renegades 31. Gonzalez playing with poise here now. Almost connecting. And Davis, definitely his favorite target, number 84, Tyree Davis.
You know, it's an all-around good football play, though. And Tyree Davis went right down the sideline. Byron Capers, who has been tough to shake all game long. I mean, he's had himself a good game. Watch how he picks him up on the top of your screen. Right in perfect position, that left hand. They start to hand fight down the field. Pretty good throw. He put it in the only place it could be. Byron Capers just ran Tyree Davis out of real estate.
Yeah, Gonzalez really didn't miss it by much. It'll be 2nd and 10. Ticats at the Ottawa 31. Into tight coverage, and Davis has it.
I love this battle.
Tyree Davis has a catch in front of Byron Capers, and that's what you're talking about.
I love the battle. Byron Capers gets him on the long one. And this time, Tyree Davis pushes him off. Capers is not really buying it. Look at Tyree Davis. He doesn't buy it. He jumps it, and they battle for it. Tyree Davis wins the fight. Gonzalez takes a bit of a hit after he delivers this one. He didn't have much more time to get it out of there. He's going down.
3rd down. About a yard to go. The decision has been made. Gonzalez is still on the field.
Well, it's a short one, too. It's inside of 1. And really, at this point, you got to believe your offensive line can get you 1 yard.
Should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Zeros around the clock, and Ivor win. There's the yard. And 2 and 3, plenty to spare. Fred Perry making the stop on Troy Davis. So the Tiger Cats offense has come to life. We're in for a big finish again.
Down to the wire 3 times straight.
1 quarter to go tonight at Ivor Win.
Interesting finish coming up in the 4th quarter. You know, the field goal kicker, the kicker job used to be primarily a non-import position, but there's a trend lately where you're seeing young American import guys getting the job done. Last night for Toronto, later tonight for BC, and Lawrence Tynes for the Ottawa Renegades getting it done. Got him up by 6.
Well, quick review. First week in the Canadian Football League season, Matt Kellett, 5 field goals. Lawrence Tynes, 5 field goals tonight. Paul McCallum, the onside thing. Now watch Paul Osbaldiston here. This is a contribution to your team. Josh Ronick barely touches him. Watch Ozzie. He's going to win an Academy Award for this one. Down he goes. That little swivel into the turf. That's part of football. He draws the penalty. They gain field position. The kickers are making an impact. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's a part of the game, Matt. You have to acknowledge it.
Chelsea, I still think you're sick, my man.
I think I am too.
Yeah, but all day long about kickers. I think you need to take it cool. I'm looking at Vernon Mitchell and what the Renegades defense is doing. They're playing well as a unit. And let me show you why I'm saying this. It's all about timing. And here you have 6 of the defensive people, and they're all coming, okay? So what happens here is these 6 are coming. Vernon Mitchell's right on top of here. So, and the free safety, Carter, he knows he's got this man. And this linebacker, he's got this man, okay? So receiver's going to come up here. Vernon's going to sit right here and take it the other way because he knows pressure is going to get to the quarterback because he's got help over the middle. And it's a beautiful pick right there, sitting on it, and he jumps it, and he takes it the other way. And that's what I'm talking about. It's all about timing. It's all about trusting your system. And Vernon Mitchell gets help from Carter in the middle. And Jock, it's a scenario where it pays off there and it's going the other way.
And the Renegades are getting a lot of help from their receiving core. I got to hand it to them. This is a group that was much maligned last year, and they're playing a heck of a game tonight. That are catching the ball extremely well. They had a lot of problems with drop balls last season. Here we see Aubrey Cummings taking this and going down the field. Here's what I like at the end. Look at this. Through 3 guys showing some toughness and some grit. This is what they needed. And we're going to see Reggie Jones here take one for the team. This is the kind of thing that Dan Crowley needs from his receiving core. He's got great catch from Darren Davis. Of course, the catch and run from Denny Montana. This is a much improved group.
We've had 2 great finishes so far this week. This game is up for grabs. Let's take it back to Hamilton for 4th quarter action.
And right on time, Dave. 1st and 10. Ticats of the Renegades. 18.
Nothing doing.
No. Troy Davis is stuffed by Clinton Wayne, number 90.
Nothing doing from Clinton Wayne. Came over in the expansion draft to the Renegades, and nice pickup. Formerly of the Calgary Stampeders. Had good penetration right there.
He was waiting.
That's
from
5 yards deep, yeah.
Loss of a couple. Make it 2nd and 13 here. Gonzalez, the home run toss, jump ball, end zone. Who's got it? Intercepted. It's picked off.
DBs are battling.
That's Eric Lee coming up with the ball.
The Ottawa Renegades disguised coverage on Pete Gonzalez. They brought the safety Donovan Carter down low, number 2. When he was down low, Pete Gonzalez assumed he had no safety in the middle, blitz coverage, and that's exactly where he wants to throw the ball. But what had happened was Eric Lee, the halfback, had rolled back and become the free safety. So a little bit of deception from the Ottawa defense. Confused Pete Gonzalez, and he threw it right to the halfback in the middle, Eric Lee.
Andrew English was the closest Ticat receiver to the ball and actually had an opportunity. But this guy made the play, Eric Lee. Davis spins his way to about the 31-yard line.
To get on the interception board for Eric Lee as a rookie.
He's worth another look when you make a play like
See
this.
number 2 at the right of your screen? That's normally the safety. He's down real low. And Pete Gonzalez says if the safety's down that low, the middle must be wide open, but it wasn't because Eric Lee had rolled back into that middle.
2nd and 4. Crowley gets away. A little low and into the turf.
Well, what Dan Crowley did, the very first part of that play was something that does not happen very often, and that is to get out of the arms of Joe Mumford. And those aren't arms; those are guns. You know, you've heard that term, right? Those are guns, and those are big old shotgun Winchester somethings. Those are off the shelf, whatever you want to call them.
Well, yeah, but you don't buy them like that. You got to work a little bit too.
Those aren't play school guns. Those are the real deal. And Crowley somehow got out of there.
Monfort had a sack earlier tonight. Davis again. Davis is all over the field tonight. We got 4 out there. There's a Darren, a Tyree, a Troy, and a Larry. We are accepting nominations and votes for the player of the game, brought to you by Rogers AT&T Wireless. Imagine getting more for your phone. There's how you do it on the internet, CFL.ca, or by text messaging.
Yeah, and if you're using text messaging and you want to vote for Brandon Hamilton, you'd go H31.
H31 would be Hamilton.
And that would get Brandon Hamilton a vote. I'm sure he's got a couple.
Well, he's leading right now in the balloting. But if you look at the scoreboard, the Tiger Cats are not leading in the ballgame. Interesting. Here's Amerson, and he'll have a first down.
No, this has been a very good road game by the Ottawa Renegades because they've faced some adversity early, and that was early when Brandon Hamilton had his interceptions. But they battled back, and a lot of credit has to go to coaching staff that went in at halftime, made some adjustments at 17 all, came back out. The defense for the Renegades playing pretty good football.
First and 10. Tiger Cats at the Hamilton 40. Davis, and that is whistled down in a hurry on Tyree Davis.
You know, another guy who's having a heck of a game for the Renegades is the corner, number 21, Byron Capers. And
he's made some plays.
Well, he's made a bunch, and it's not just the flashy interceptions, but he's been battling over there with Tyree Davis, and it's been fun to watch that little game outside the game.
Well, he won the big one against Tyree in the end zone.
That's
Lost
right.
the next one. We'll see who wins the next skirmish between 21 and 84. Second and 10. Gonzalez stands in. Amerson was the closest Ticat receiver. Vernon Mitchell covering for the Renegades.
You know, and for Byron Capers, when you compare the two corners, Brandon Hamilton will get the headlines in the paper. You know, either way, or Hamilton wins or loses, his name will be in the paper. Byron Capers may not be, but he's put together a very good football game tonight.
Well, it kind of depends what paper you're reading tomorrow. The Hamilton Spectator or the Ottawa Citizen.
Very good point. I just hope that sometime they notice those DBs. So
yeah, absolutely. They've been close a couple of times to us, Ballison. Got one. DJ Flick puts the Renegades on the Ticat side of the field. We'll see what Dan Crowley can do when he gets first and 10, and we return. 11 minutes to go. The Ticats are down by 6 at the Hamilton sideline. Here's Claude Faig.
Well, Wellesley, evidently head coach Ron Lancaster has seen enough of Pete Gonzalez as Reggie Slack behind me has begun to warm up. Of course, he is listed as number 3 on the depth chart, maybe insurance policy for the team, but it looks like he'll be coming in the next series for the Ticats, guys.
Yeah, and the reason, one of the reasons that it looks like it's going to happen is he's working with Carl Coulter down there, the center. And when you're working with the number 1 center, you're coming in.
Crowley didn't fool the Tiger Cats this time. Chris Schelling was there, and Lamont Bryant was helping.
Schelling just flying to the football. This is really the strength, or one of the strengths of this defense. You got Mumford up front, and then in behind, Chris Schelling, who just has secondary contained. That means he's not, his primary responsibility is not to be up there in the backfield like that. But when he sees Crowley jump outside, then he has the green light to go ahead and go after him, corral him to the ground.
Loss of 5. Davis didn't get turned around and comfortable in time.
So now we'll see Reggie Slack with a limited play package. And the way Ron Lancaster Jr. game plans with his quarterbacks is he basically has different zones on the field. And those zones are all broken down basically from A to Z. And in those, each one of those zones, he wants the quarterback to set up some plays, his own, what he likes, something he's comfortable with, because the plays that Danny McManus runs may not suit the plays that Reggie Slack wants to run. Now Slack's package is limited.
Nice punt by Harper. Larry Davis gets to the 20. 7 on the return, a 47-yard punt. Danny McManus talking it over with Reggie Slack. They've seen eye to eye on the football field before, haven't they? NHL entry draft is tomorrow for 2003, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Jared Suter is not eligible until 2014 or 13?
Yeah, it'll be a few years.
Few years. Anyway, be with us for that. It's live on TSN from Nashville tomorrow.
Pete Gonzalez will watch the rest of them the remaining 10 minutes. Not a bad outing for Pete Gonzalez, really, when you, all things considered. His first ever CFL start. Didn't light it up, but also didn't really hurt the Ticats in a lot of ways.
Reggie Slack got heat on his first throw, and he one-hopped it at the 29 for Archie Amerson. And not a huge surprise that the Renegades are coming at Slack.
Well,
on his first down.
Well, yeah, you've got a guy who's trying to pick up the offense. And, you know, there's a lot of similarities in offenses and defenses as you go across from team to team. But what changes all the time is the terminology in those offenses. And that's the one thing when you come from another team and you're there only a couple days, you have to try and figure out what was a zig before, maybe a zag now.
And they're coming again. Slack stands in, but he doesn't come close to getting it away. Clinton Wayne. Well, Kelly Wiltshire.
Reggie Slack is not a small man, and he was just swallowed up by that defensive line. I mean, here comes Kelly Wiltshire coming with the pressure up the middle. He was not blocked long enough, and look at how he's just swallowed. 3 Ottawa Renegades, and they have a little team meeting right there at the quarterback.
Clinton Wayne has come into his own in the later stages of the game. And but in that Tiger Cat backfield, here's Paul Osbaldiston. And he's down again, a flag down again. And a flag on the return as well.
Well, if there's ever a guy in the CFL that you're going to give the green light to go after a punt, it's going to be Gerald Vaughn. And he's one of the guys that you can take this from. In other words, we'll take the odd roughing the kicker because we know he's right at the top left of the screen, coming off the edge, number 39, and you're going to give him the opportunity. I think Kyle Walters gave him enough of a push to change his direction and put him right into Paul Osbaldiston.
Osbaldiston has drawn 2 penalties tonight.
But if there's one guy you're going to give the leeway to do that, it'll be Gerald Vaughn, who is a CFL record with 11 block kicks in his career. He just has a knack for that, and something that you can't really coach. In fact, teams try to. Special teams coaches will work on it, and I remember doing it. You set up sort of a mat, and you get your backup punter to just keep kicking, and people just literally run in front of the ball.
On Ottawa, no yards on Hamilton. To balance him at the point of last scrimmage and re-kick the down, 3rd down.
Well, he got away with the contact in the kicker and not roughing the kicker because of the push probably from Kyle Walters.
And he was close.
Because of roughing the kicker is a 1st down.
So at this stage, with long yardage necessary after back-to-back sacks, it's just a re-kick. So the Renegades will end up with the ball in Tiger Cat territory. No heat on Osbaldiston that time, but he didn't get a good one away. Tyree Davis stopped in his tracks. Super tackle by Trevor Shaw. And there's another marker down, but not in the area of the kicker.
No, and it was more in the area of the holding from Ottawa.
Holding, Ottawa, number 3, new run back, 1st down.
You know, and that helps the Ticats in a big way, because when you look at where Paul Osbaldiston was punting the ball from, it's almost a decision where Ron Lancaster could have said, let's give up the 2. In a close game like this, you'd prefer not to. Obviously, that penalty helps him because it pushes it past center.
Yeah, 2 makes it an 8-point spread, so that's the other.
Yeah, that's the extra
part of the mathematical equation that doesn't work quite as well there. A 6-point game heading into the final 8 minutes and 31 seconds. Crowley, complete far side as Reggie Jones.
Joe Paopao has to be very proud of the way his team has responded on the road to open the 2nd season. He's finally got more of the personality he's comfortable with. It takes some time. Saskatchewan has been working on it for 3-4 years, and now they have the team they like. Ottawa's going to take some time, and they've got to be happy with the performance they've had, facing adversity early and still battling to keep the lead.
2nd and 4. Renegades hang on to the lead. Darren Davis. Lamont Bryant was there to meet him. And another marker is down.
And that starts from the top, and that includes Joe Paopao, but then it goes right to the starting quarterback.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton, number 97, first down.
That's hurtful. Lamont Bryant.
Dan Crowley could easily have folded the tent after his second or third interception. And he did. Kept his chin up. Here's a look at that face mask. It's going to cost Hamilton dearly. A first down and a bunch of yardage puts him in field goal range.
Absolutely, at the 31. So, and Tynes has had a big night. Reggie Jones, and he was surrounded almost immediately. Chris Schelling was the first Tiger Cat in the area.
Well, we've seen in the first two games of 2003, every point matters, and it's not over till the last final gun.
We've seen that, haven't we, this week?
Already.
We've learned that lesson in week 1 of 2003.
So a 7 minutes left is basically a game. I mean,
we've learned the lesson. So have the Calgary Stampeders. So have the Toronto Argonauts. And I think football fans have learned a lesson too that you better not check out too early. The touchdown toss. Oh! Almost had him. DJ Flick. Joe Paopao really likes this guy. Loves his speed. He was with the Renegades briefly last year. And he almost comes up with a touchdown here.
Well, he had a great burst to get him close. And Dan Crowley put it out in front of him. And that's how close it was. Crowley. No! That was a nice throw by Dan Crowley, though.
He was a track star at university.
Well, the acceleration at the end of it was the difference.
Here's Lawrence Tynes. And he missed this one. A huge miss for the Renegades and for Tynes. Now it's a 7-point game. It made some sense for the Tiger Cats to try and escape the end zone for Larry Davis there. 7 points separating the Tiger Cats and the Renegades, and an interesting evening at Ivor Wynn. Reggie Slack at the controls for Hamilton. Julian Radlin unable to grab that one. Lancaster with his thoughts on why Reggie Slack is a Tiger Cat right now.
Reggie has a proven track record. I mean, he's proven he can win in this league. When he walks into the locker room, the players know who he is. They know he's played in the league. So all that stuff works in his favor. And you know what? I think after you play quarterback in this league, you can get in the huddle and tell guys what to do individually and still play. So he brings a lot to the club, but the big thing is the guys know him and know his ability.
Hasn't had a reception so far. That was Tony Akins. And Slack was pretty close to making a connection there.
He was, but Dave Thomas covered a lot of ground. And he got over there and hit Tony Akins just as the ball arrived. That's called separating the receiver from the ball. Look at number 54 right up in the line of scrimmage down. Now look him drop out of there right in the middle of your screen. Fly over to the outside. Good lateral movement. Pow. Right in the ear hole. Ball comes out.
Dave Thomas playing in the middle with John Grace on the sidelines with a hamstring problem. Osbaldiston a couple blocked tonight, but he sails this one with very little pressure. DJ Flick just about 3 yards on the return there with 5:26 to go. We're set for a finish at Ivor Wynn.
Both defenses just refusing to budge an inch down the stretch here in the fourth quarter. And now it's the Ticats' turn. Not real flashy numbers from Dan Crowley at 170 yards and the 3 picks, but he's hanging in there.
I think that's the best way to describe his performance. Hanging tough, really, isn't it? He's taken some shots. He's moved the ball. Little pump fake there, looking deep, far side. Bendros has been his favorite target.
Well, they've really been setting this play up for a while. They've been throwing those hitch screens out to Demetrius Bendros. and also to Denny Montana on the outside, and this time they set it up with the pump fake. This time a little fake. I'm going hitch, hitch, hitch. No, we're gone down the sideline. Vendras, the inside receiver. What they're hoping is they'll pull Trevon Waller up out of coverage, and he wasn't fooled on the play.
Vendras really ran out of real estate over there, too. 2nd and 10. Renegades back at the Ottawa 40. Under the cover. Little sidearm effort for Davis.
Joe Montfort's been a little quieter here in the second half simply because of the way the Ottawa Renegades are running their offense. Every time on 2nd and long, the Renegades are either throwing the ball or running away from them. And you see Montfort on the backside of the play again. Full sprint out from Dan Crowley, basically saying, okay, where is 53? I'm going opposite.
Hang on, man. You got to get
Down to the 20. Larry Davis. And the Renegades have covered a lot better on special teams of late. Just 2 yards allowed on that return, and Darren Joseph has been mentioned a time or two with those downfield tackles.
You know, Reggie Slack now coming in the game really to get on track, needs to involve his running backs a little bit more. I know he tried on the last series to set up a screen. He's got to go back to Troy Davis. Keep the running game with 4:14 left. That's a lot of time to stay with your game plan and try and keep some balance in your offense. Taking that 5-6 step drop or staying in shotgun the whole time allows Ottawa to pin their ears back.
Costly error there.
And you see Dave Thomas again, the linebacker, had moved to the outside and was coming on the blitz.
Procedure, Hamilton, number 54, repeat first down.
What Ron Lancaster is counting on is that because Reggie Slack is a veteran, if Ottawa continues to send that much pressure, he's counting on the veteran and Reggie Slack to recognize it and make him pay for it with a big one.
Andrew English to the near side, flanked wide on 1st and 15 Tiger Cats. No catch.
Byron Capers.
And it was bobbled a couple of times by Julian Radlin. But Capers was in the neighborhood.
Well, Radlin had to catch it the first try, because if you don't, you bobble one time, corner's having a good game. Pow! It's a good hit right there. Byron Capers gives the rookie a nice little hello, welcome to the CFL. Better catch it the first time and brace yourself.
2nd and 15 Tiger Cats. Slack needs a first down in the worst way. And can't connect there with Tyree Davis.
And when you have a hot corner, and right now Byron Capers is hot on that corner, that throw from Reggie Slack was way outside and so safe that it was out of bounds. And Capers again was just lurking back there on that out. And if that ball's underthrown at all, he's got a pretty good angle on it.
Slack 0 for 6 since coming into the game. Osbaldiston will stand at his 3 to kick it away. Ottawa on top by a touchdown, 24-17.
How did Kelly Wiltshire not block that punt?
Flags are down. DJ Flick takes off.
Kelly Wiltshire was through so clean, he couldn't believe it himself.
There's a little conversation down there. Wiltshire and the kicker. 3 minutes to go. A touchdown between these two, and Ivor win tonight. Here's the game story brought to you by Sport Check, Canada's largest sporting goods retailer. Sport Check, the best value. Here's what we've got.
Pete Gonzalez, okay on his debut, not flashy, obviously hasn't done enough.
Dan Crowley gutsy, I'd say. 175 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and he's hanging in.
Well, defensive backs, because of the inexperience at quarterback, licking their chops a little bit. Brandon Hamilton with a couple of picks.
And Lawrence Tynes has missed a couple, but he's made 5. Renegades on the roll again. Darren Davis.
Darren Davis did a nice job at the end of the play to stay in bounds. Could have easily just tried to skip out of bounds there, but 70 yards and 17 carries, hasn't shown any ill effects from the neck injury. And I'm talking more psychologically than physically. He's taken some big hits in the middle. He hasn't backed away from him, and that's a good example right there. Right along the sideline, he could have saved the hit and jumped out of bounds. Took one for the team.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. DJ Flick will have a first down. Huge play.
Sure is.
For Ottawa. Steve Fisher and Brandon Hamilton over to force him out, but Crowley connects there, and Flick makes the catch. This drive continues.
Starts out with a gutsy call from Pow Pow because it's about a 3-yard throw, well short of the first down. But what the premise is that you expect your receiver to do something with the ball after, and that's exactly what DJ Flick does. Gets enough for the first down, takes a bunch of valuable time off the clock,
and keeps this possession rolling. I mean, a little closer to Titans territory here as well. Darren Davis got hit by his own man.
Now this is fun. Now, this is going to turn into be about a 3 or 4 yard gain, but it's one of the examples of running backs who train all their lives on how to keep their balance and work in the open field and never give up, because Darren Davis was hit 6 or 7 times here at least. Pulled down there almost. Now watch the balance. Great balance. He backs up. Look at that balance. Left hand goes down. He stays up. Hit by his own man, and he wouldn't go down then either.
He gets 6 yards out of it. Darren Davis on 2nd and 4. He'll be short of the first down with 1:26 remaining.
But a nice play to run into the middle of the field to get your field goal kicker out, so he's got that upright right in front of him, because this is a big 3 points with 1:26 left. Makes it a 2-possession or 2-score game for Hamilton to come back, and Lawrence Tynes 5 for 7 on the night.
He's hit from 44, 24, 34, 39, and 17.
And if he hit all of them, he'd be right in the running for a record. The field goal record in the regular season game is 8. Ridgway did it twice. McLaughlin, and right here, Paul Osbaldson has done it.
Tynes hit the upright with his first. And he's got another one right down the alley that time. 1:01 to go. And it's a 10-point difference. These Renegades bent a little bit, but they haven't folded tonight, have they? Welcome back. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Iverwin and Hamilton. We're ready for the comeback for the Tiger Cats. Tyree Davis accepting the pass from Reggie Slack with 55 seconds on the clock. Hamilton down by 10.
Well, Reggie Slack is now probably best suited with the quarterbacks they have left to run any kind of hurry-up offense. He's quickly running out of time, and this Ottawa defense on the road, hostile territory, has really stepped up to the fore here.
Slack connecting with Larry Davis, number 88. Are you ready for this? Glenn's Gladiators.
Hey, a couple of guys are in the running tonight. Brandon Hamilton for the Ticats, but I'm going with the corner. But Byron Capers, who battled with Tyree Davis all night long, was physical and was always in the right spot. Win or lose, he's had a great game.
Reggie Slack is down and the ball is loose. Renegades
Ottawa's got it.
Have it, and they do. Roger Dunbrack has been a welcome addition to this team, as evidenced tonight.
I just love the way Byron Capers challenged Tyree Davis tonight. Yes, he was playing against an inexperienced quarterback in Pete Gonzalez, but hey, you've got to execute and you've got to take advantage of that, and he did that. A couple of knockdowns, took away a bunch of deep balls, and threw that leather around a little bit too. Great effort from Byron Capers.
I guess you'd never pick a quarterback as a gladiator.
Yes, you could.
See, I'm looking at Crowley here. He's taking some hits. He's
Darren
giving
Davis
up
was
an
in the
interception for a touchdown.
Darren Davis is in the running as well, coming off the injury in his first game and played pretty well. And Brandon Hamilton on the other side. But Byron Capers wins out. First gladiator ever.
First ever gladiator.
Goes to a defensive back. There.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the quarterback brings the team back from 2 touchdowns down.
I guess Russell Crowe was the first gladiator, but that's the first Glenn's gladiator.
Into the final couple of seconds here. I don't really argue with your choice.
Big road win, though, for the Ottawa Renegades. Come into hostile territory, face some adversity. Dan Crowley with 3 interceptions. Stays in there tough and leads this team along with Darren Davis. And I'll tell you what, that defense deserves a ton of credit, led by Byron Capers. But across the board, they stopped this offense consistently all night long.
Joe Paopao brings the Renegades to Hamilton, comes away with a victory. And guess who's tied for top spot in the CFL East?
Renegades.
The Ottawa Renegades with the Montreal Alouettes.